On Tuesday, October 20th, the group Education Activists of Alachua County held our first public event, the State of Education in Alachua County, on the grounds of the Alachua County Schools Administration Building. Our purpose was to present a response from concerned parents, teachers, and citizens to the troubling void in leadership and lack of progress in any movement at all from the district toward meeting years of requests for collaborative community engagement, requests which had been denied for years, but recently had risen to an all-time high during this year of unparalleled simultaneous crises. Our State of the Union addressed an ongoing and unbearable highest in Florida gap in academic achievement between Black and white students and the repercussions from the COVID-19 pandemic, which has served to infinitely compound and highlight that gap, as well as other issues of equity, access, inclusion, and especially the lack of true outreach to families in our district. We invited speakers and writers to share their experiences teaching, parenting, working, volunteering, and supporting the village in a district that doesn't always support them back. We are eager to welcome other citizens, parents, business people, educators, district staff, and others who share our vision for a transparent, equitable, community-based model of schooling for all of our children. We can do better together.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for those of you that came out in the rain. We so appreciate you. And thank you for everyone who has tuned in live. We had a little bit of a rain delay, but we're all good, and we really appreciate y'all being here and coming out for support. My name is Cassandra Tucci. My pronouns are she, her, and they, and I'm so happy and grateful and honored to be here. We've got a lot of handouts on the tables around. We have cloth masks for kids and disposable masks for adults, winter socks for kids. There's a lot of handouts for information on how to stay involved. And we'll be going through our speakers as fast as we can because we've got some clouds looming in the background. Thank you for your support. A group of us, most of whom have met online during this new world of social distancing and distance learning, got together and created this focused advocacy group to support public education and community engagement in Alachua County. We are the Education Activists of Alachua County, and we welcome you. And we are here to stay until the work is done. We decided to host this event to encourage all of our fellow parents, teachers, school staff, bus drivers, community members, and all concerned citizens to get involved and support the transformation that is needed in Alachua County public education. In the next hour, you will hear from a number of speakers who will address crucial topics in regards to public education in our district. How many of you understand the details of the District Advisory Committee, or the difference between the half-cent sales tax and the 1 mil, which we hope you will vote for right now or next month, and how those monies are actually being spent and allocated? How many of you know what the Alachua County PTA Board actually does? Not many, I bet. I sure didn't know until a few months ago. So that's our goal today, to help our neighbors, families, friends, and concerned citizens understand the complex challenges that we are facing in public education in Alachua County, and then to encourage all of you to be in any and all ways you are able. It will take all of us to improve our public schools and ensure our community has a public education system that provides equitably for each and every student to achieve excellence. I'm so grateful to be a part of and have the support of this group and community as I navigate education for my own 2 children, and I'm confident that you will be too. We are all in this together, and we need everyone to succeed. Once again, we're glad you're here today. Hope you learn a lot and that this event inspires you to get and stay involved. Our first speaker of the evening is Ms. Julie Crosby. She will be educating us on the role of the District Advisory Committee, or the DAC. She is a member of the District Advisory Committee We hope you enjoy all of our presentations and that you are inspired to get and stay involved to ensure the success of all of our students in Alachua County. Julie?
Hello, I'm Julie Crosby, member of the Alachua County Public Schools District Advisory Council. I was appointed to the council by board member Tina Certain 1 year ago. Prior to that, I attended school board meetings and workshops regularly for over a year as a concerned citizen and a lifelong educator. I have a master's degree in reading education from UF, and I'm currently working toward another in education technology. I've worked in education for over 25 years. 2 of my 3 daughters graduated from high schools in Alachua County. A few years ago, I attended a presentation and I heard about a gap in test scores for reading between black and white students, a 45% difference. I heard other similar statistics and I felt sick to my stomach. So I began attending the school board meetings, where I soon observed 3 board members bully citizens during citizen comment, and I recognized one piece of this terrible puzzle. The voice of the community was routinely silenced, and there was a lack of strategic collaboration with the wealth of resources available from our citizens, business partners, and institutions in Alachua County. During the past year on the District Advisory Council, I have unfortunately witnessed this all too often. I will illustrate. Allow me to break down the opening paragraph from the DAC bylaws, contrasting for you how it actually works with how it could work, were we to have true, transparent collaboration and community input, which is the purpose of an advisory board. The full statement reads, as part of the strategic planning process, the School Board of Alachua County has established the District Advisory Council as a vehicle to provide stakeholder community input on key issues of district-wide significance. The DAC will consider issues referred to it by the school board and reach consensus on a recommendation or recommendations to be shared with the board. Let's break this down. As part of the strategic planning process, strategic planning should include input from the District Advisory Council. We should review the board's plan and provide input. Unfortunately, the DAC is not involved at all in strategic planning, even though this is stated in the first 6 words of the bylaws. Since the DAC is composed of a representative section of citizens, this input would be very valuable in providing insight in a number of ways, such as ensuring equity is being considered. All areas of the district are included in decisions, and not just a couple of geographic sections receive focus, etc. Why not use this volunteer citizen talent pool as intended to improve outcomes with better planning and input? Next, the School Board of Alachua County has established the District Advisory Council as a vehicle to provide stakeholder community input on key issues of district-wide significance. A wonderful recent example of a key issue of district-wide significance is high-flex learning and the digital academy. If the DAC is a vehicle to provide community input, we should have been asked to provide input on this very crucial current topic. At our recent meeting in October, but that didn't happen. Our last meeting didn't even address the Digital Academy or anything at all related to COVID, only rezoning. I'd love to see the DAC function as described, used to its fullest potential, and free to provide the valuable input and information volunteers bring from every corner of the district, rather than being held back from these important and timely conversations. The DAC will consider issues referred to it by the school board and reach consensus on a recommendation or recommendations to be shared with the board. Unfortunately, the DAC in its current operation rarely votes or reaches consensus on issues that are pertinent to the school board. If we were able to do this, though, we could have the potential to advise and shape how schooling is done in Alachua County. The DAC has really great, experienced, and diverse voices on it. I could see us offering ACPS so much if we were able to fulfill our bylaws properly. This is the same with other committees. Committees are the main way that others are invited into the school district to work alongside our brave teachers, administrators, and leaders. We could do so much. There are many community advisory boards, including school advisory councils for each school, a crucial part of the school improvement plan process. The Half-Cent Advisory Board, One Mill Advisory Board, and more. If this small example I've given you is occurring, what do you think is happening on those boards, many of which are responsible for distribution of funds? Community advisory boards are vital to municipalities. It's crucial for everyone to know that these boards exist and they need to be governed transparently and effectively. I encourage you to watch the YouTube channel for the Alachua County Public Schools. Review the meetings that are available there for some of those boards. If asked to serve on a board, consider saying yes. Research them, learn more, and hold them accountable. Thank you.
Next up, we have two teachers from Teachers for Change, Chelsea Bolin and Kelly Cassidy. Kelly has spoken out many times at lots of our school board meetings, so lots of you probably know her name. And we're going to start off with her and then go to Chelsea, and they're going to talk to us about empowering teacher leadership in our schools.
Thank you. So I am Kelly Cassidy. Good evening, everyone. I am a teacher. This is my 5th year teaching. My counterpart, Chelsea Bolin, and I started Teachers for Change this summer. We just began it by talking to each other and talking about the needs of our students, and then we looked at the broader scale of the needs of the students in Alachua County, and we just felt that teachers needed a better way to be involved. Not to say that teachers aren't involved, we are, but we've just been hearing that teachers don't feel that they have a respected voice. So we developed Teachers for Change as a way to empower the community and teachers to advocate for our students. And we're, of course, including our ESPs in the conversations that we're having, our educational support persons, because we cannot do our job without them. If I'm thinking about teacher leadership, I'm thinking about doing whatever it takes to feel empowered to advocate for my students, to speak out for any injustice that I see for them. I'm thinking about taking the necessary steps to do what it takes to get them help so they can do what they need to do to succeed in and outside of school. In my time teaching, I have seen many needs of our students. Decreasing class size would be a helpful start. As teachers, we love doing the job that we do. And of course, when we get a new student, that job load increases. And of course, we're going to take them willingly and happily, but every student learns in different ways, so we have to teach them differently. So smaller class sizes to start would help us be able to reach each individual student on a more one-to-one basis. And of course, smaller class sizes will help decrease the achievement gap that we have in this county. And if we're thinking about this pandemic that we're coming out of, the achievement gap is only going to be worse. So reducing class sizes would definitely help empower the teachers to reach their students.
Ideas that we think could help and some of our goals with working towards improving education in this district. I'm just going to share a few with you. We've been collaborating with different teachers, and everything we're working towards is to improve student success and to specifically decrease that academic achievement gap or opportunity gap that we see in our students, between Black and white students specifically. We want to help bridge the gap between students, teachers, and the community, as well as district staff. Improving collaborative partnerships between teachers and district personnel would be one way to do this. We also want to see more holistic family services at every school and a staff that is committed to building relationships with families and the community. Another thing that Teachers for Change wants to do is keep the community informed. So a lot of times I don't think people know what's going on, and that's, along with what Julie was saying as well, we want to keep everyone informed about school board meetings, important decisions, and how they can advocate for change in areas of equity. We would like to see a more diverse teaching staff and more diverse student populations at each school. We want to see more meaningful professional development, such as diversity training and trauma-informed behavior management training for every staff member at every school in the district. We meet periodically with teachers, ESPs, and community members across the county to discuss concerns and hear ideas. If you'd like to be involved, you can join Teachers for Change Facebook page, like us, send us a message. You can email us with any questions. It's teachers4, the number 4, change@gmail.com. And you don't have to be a teacher to be involved. So anyone who wants better for our students can be involved.
Rock stars out here in the rain. Thank you so much for staying. It's drizzling, but we got this. Thank you, Kelly and Chelsea, so much. All of the information that we're sharing today will be available on our website and through our group, the Education Activists of Alachua County. So if you're not catching all of this stuff, please reach out, be in touch. The whole point of this is to get as many people involved as possible and keep it going. Next up, we've got Ms. Carolyn Webber. Carolyn is a Alachua County public school parent, friend of many, and she's going to be reading a statement from Dr. Jonna Gold, pandemic statement. Jonna is a professor of public health, and this is going to be about COVID-19 and the pandemic and how we're handling it in our schools.
Hi, I'm Carolyn, and I am reading on behalf of Jonna Gold. COVID-19 is a pandemic accelerating again. North American states are already seeing a rapid third surge in this first wave we as a nation are still experiencing. We in Florida will see a devastating surge again this fall and winter. We have an anti-mask, anti-science, politically motivated movement that has biased and blinded our community and leaders in preventing us from controlling this pandemic efficiently. Politically charged promotion of the herd immunity concept before vaccinations as an answer to this pandemic is inappropriate, irresponsible, ill-informed, and dangerous, which, in the worst-case scenario, may kill 1 million or more Americans. We could be experiencing one of the worst periods of this pandemic and one of the worst periods in modern American public health. We should be worried for our dear and beautiful community and our families. SARS-CoV-2 is a novel virus, and we have only 7 or 8 months of data and experience with it. We do not know enough about the long-term health consequences of infections, even if they are with asymptomatic or short-term cases. We do not know how well vaccinations will work. However, we do know how to prevent community transmission. The best approach now is to listen to the health experts, follow their recommendations, and prepare for a long fall and winter. We need to continue to minimize the risks of infection by observing strict hygiene and infection control measures, including masks for everyone, even outside when good distancing is not possible, proper physical distancing, more than 6 feet, quality ventilation, accurate and accessible testing, contact tracing, and quarantine for those potentially exposed, and isolation of people who have become infected. We need to prepare now for this coming surge. We need to improve the virtual school and DA experiences, keep the DA option throughout the school year, and prepare to support our teachers and families and our district to provide the best quality education for all. As speaking for myself, I would like to encourage everyone to reach out to the Commissioner of Education for the state of Florida so that we can continue our digital academy experience. My son is currently in Digital Academy, and the teachers are doing a wonderful job, and he's really loving it. And so we want this to continue moving forward. I don't know that Alachua County will have much of a choice if the commissioner and the governor end the Digital Academy. So please reach out now, not when it's canceled, so that we can continue this Digital Academy. Thank you.
Next up, thank you so much, Carolyn and Dr. Gold, for your statement. And next up, following right on topic, we're going to have David Kaplan, Dr. David Kaplan. He's an Alachua County parent, Alachua County public school parent, and also an associate professor. He's going to be reading a statement by Prescott Cowles, who is a science teacher, and this is all about health and safety in our schools.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming out in the rain. It's very inspiring to see folks we're sticking here because we know we have a big job to do. I want to thank Prescott for giving me the chance to speak on his behalf tonight. Prescott couldn't be here because he's actually in quarantine. He was exposed to COVID, and part of his research that I'm going to share with you tonight is trying to navigate the rules and regulations for keeping our schools and counties safe. So, he hoped to share a progress report on the district's COVID response so far and how we can together map out a path for improvement. Starting at the top, a primary goal of the ACPS strategic plan is to ensure a safe and orderly environment for students and staff that provides optimal conditions and opportunities for teaching and learning. Now, all that we've been together, all we've been through together the past few months, none of us would probably choose the word orderly to describe 2020, and probably many of us wouldn't even use a family-friendly word to describe how we've kind of approached this issue. But when the district said to set a safe and orderly environment as one of its goals, there's no way they could have known that a once-in-a-century pandemic was on the radar. But in March, COVID-19 sucker punched us all. The threat of this virus forced us to suddenly and dramatically change almost everything about our lives. We've all made sacrifices to protect our families and communities from this disease, but COVID-19 has been a relentless opponent. Many of our staff, students, and teachers have suffered profound loss, and this moment has left us feeling disoriented and distracted at best, or out of control and afraid at worst. As we try to figure out what's next, there's a small comfort in simply accepting things as they are, a calm in saying it is what it is. But you're here today and online because you care about someone in our schools, and we know that for them, that isn't good enough. So as daunting as the situation seems, there's a way forward. We can have high expectations without being naive. Moving forward will require action and energy and urgency because, let's face it, COVID-19 does not have compassion and grace. So moving forward starts with an honest conversation about the difference between where we are now and where we want to be, and a progress report on how we've performed so far, what we've learned, and what we need to do better is a good place to start. So through our collective experience, we've learned a lot about how this virus works, about how we can protect ourselves and our communities, about how asymptomatic spread is common and can cause super spreading events that potentially infect hundreds of people at once. We've learned that an effective contact tracing system can allow us to track spreading infection through communities and intervene to stop it. We've learned that consistent physical distancing and mask wearing, maintenance of ventilation systems, and the use of clear and consistent communication strategies are fundamental to reduce infection, hospitalization, and death. In Alachua County, we're experiencing what happens when those protocols are not consistently in place. The data are staggering. Since reopening schools, infections for children in Alachua County have increased twice as much as the rest of Florida. Statewide, pediatric cases have increased by 24%. In Alachua County, they've increased by 54%. If things continue at this rate, more than 1,300 children will contract COVID-19 in the coming months. Unfortunately, the rate of COVID infections is accelerating. We expected a spike in young adult cases after the return of UF in Santa Fe, and while that community spread has slowed, there's been an increase in pediatric cases. Without better testing and more transparency, we might see even more clearly how this increase in transmission corresponds with a steady return of brick and mortar students to the classroom. There's a consistently high positivity rate for kids in Alachua County. 7.5% of tests came back positive in the last 2 weeks for kids, 7.4% since opening. This is a key indicator that our testing is not keeping up with disease transmission and suggests many more undetected cases. So what does that mean? It means we just don't know exactly how widespread and where these infections are occurring. There have been 3,200 tests for Alachua County students since reopening, and UF performed that same number of tests in the past 3 days. So if we can't detect the disease, we can't stop it. The number of cases on the COVID dashboard for the county schools only represents about a third of the cases reported by the Department of Health. While we know that not every student is in brick and mortar school, we expect this disconnect is based on poor testing, poor communication, or both, and we can't make informed decisions unless we have good data. Lastly, and really importantly, we know that some families feel this burden worse than others. In the U.S., COVID-19 has disproportionately affected Black Americans, Native Americans, and other marginalized groups. In Alachua County, our Black residents represent 20% of the population, but 48% of COVID hospitalizations and nearly 40% of deaths. We know this is not okay. We know the school district did not cause this pandemic, but it does bear responsibility for its response. And this is a moment for reflection and for change because we don't need our kids getting sick at twice the rate as the rest of the state. So Prescott is always hopeful. He says that all is not lost. While there are clear signs a plan isn't working, there are clear actions we can take to make it better. Number one, the way forward begins with a comprehensive review and overhaul of the August reopening plan. Take this action with the advice of medical experts leading the conversation. We know our district leaders are public education professionals, but they're not public health professionals, and we shouldn't expect them to be. So it's time for them to stop playing doctor and bring the real experts to the table in a meaningful way. The way forward includes using the framework the CDC has created for school leaders to ensure the right safety measures are in place. We've done some of this, but there's a lot that we've left on the table. There are experts in the community that have stepped up and willing to help on topics like ventilation, for example. The way forward includes getting everyone on the same page about what reporting is like. Prescott couldn't figure out exactly how to report his exposure. There's 9 different and conflicting plans shared by the district right now. We need a coherent and coordinated protocol if we're going to get on the right track, and we need robust and consistent contact tracing and wide-scale testing in schools, perhaps in coordination with UF Health. So these health measures aren't a way out of school, they're a way into school, carefully and reopening our schools safely and sooner. So we'll just end by saying, we know our school leaders need to act, but it's also on us. We need to fight to keep our families safe. This fight to improve the education, to keep our families safe can feel lonely and isolating, but by working together and facing the same challenge, we know that it's easier to overcome if we work together as a community. In closing, there's a lot to be done. There's a lot we don't know about what lies ahead, but the best thing we can do to predict the future is to make it together. So if you'll join us, Alachua County education activists and other groups, and take the call that Julie and the Teachers for Change have put out there and get involved in our schools, because if we're not going to change it, no one will. Thank you very much.
All right, y'all, we got 2 more speakers. Oh, upside down. That's helpful. 2 more speakers tonight. Thank you for sticking around. Next up, thank you, David, also, and Prescott for that awesome presentation. Next up, we've got Tracy Amber Breed. She is an Alachua County public school parent and teacher at Pace Center for Girls and has lots of teaching experience otherwise. And she's going to be speaking to us today about disparity in our school systems.
Thank you, Cassandra. Hey everyone, good evening. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend with us. My name is Tracy Amber Breed. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am a graduate of the Alachua County school system. I attended Littlewood, Westwood, and Buchholz, all schools on the west side of Gainesville. I am also the parent of 3 children who have gone or are going to school in Alachua County. I teach a class called Spirited Girls, which is a life skills class, at Pace Center for Girls, and our students are between 6th and 12th grade, so I do middle and high school at the same time. Our mission is to find the great in every girl, which we do from a strength-based, gender-responsive, and trauma-informed framework. I am here tonight to share my perspective as a teacher, a former graduate, and a parent, especially one who has witnessed the East-West educational divide. My first teaching position in Gainesville was with Meadowbrook. I was there for a year. From there, I went to Pace Center for Girls here on the east side of town. At Pace, I found my calling and my career home. My experience at Pace and Meadowbrook were very different, but they had similarities. Pace and Meadowbrook both have fantastic teachers who believe in students, great administrators, and wonderful families. Where they differ is the privilege and resources that the families who attend them have been allotted for generations. At Meadowbrook, there is quite a bit of social capital and privilege. Located on the far west side of Gainesville, many of the families zoned to Meadowbrook have adequate wealth. Many are white and affluent. Meadowbrook is one of the 3 schools who do not qualify for free lunches for all students. There are absolutely students of color there, but they are a small percentage of the population. The teaching staff is excellent, and their programs have the funding they need, resources, and support from a very active PTA. Families are also very involved. Volunteers are available and ready to support teachers. Most classrooms have a room parent. Teachers' wish lists are fulfilled at varying levels. And Teacher Appreciation Week is a sight to behold, from decorated doors to lunches, breakfasts, coffee, and gifts. My speech is out of order. There we go. Pace, on the other hand, is a school of determination and second chances. My girls at Pace have largely attended East Side schools. Our student base is typically 75% or higher Black or brown girls, and too many of them have known more trauma and disparity than any child, or adult for that matter, should. This is not the fault of their parents. This should be the concern and responsibility of everyone in our community. Statistics show the lack of opportunity these kids have. 70% of Black students in Alachua County cannot read proficiently. These kids are punished at higher levels and more severely than their white counterparts. They are passed on and over to the next grade. Just get them through. In many of these schools, magnet programs have brought kids in from all over Gainesville. Unfortunately, the funds don't impact all students. I have asked my girls about the differences between how Lyceum kids at Lincoln are treated and how the major program kids are treated. They see the special attention these smart kids get. When they get to me, they are often behind, need improvement with their reading and math skills, and have been misunderstood by teachers and staff. But their eyes and hearts are still full of dreams. Few teachers spend the time learning about the ways that our society have segregated their schools for more than 70 years, long before Brown v. Board. Now we segregate students in schools with magnets and gifted programs. I know that my students are as smart as any others. They just don't have the same running start as kids across town. Nonetheless, we take care of business at Pace. For example, during the pandemic, we made sure all of our students had electronic devices and wireless internet, providing hotspots when a family did not have it, and working with Cox to get internet into homes without cost to families. Throughout the summer, our national office worked with 21 separate school districts to get plans made and accepted in alignment with the governor's orders. Our girls are the most negatively impacted by distance learning. The opportunity gap easily widens when you live on the east side, when your family isn't provided with the community structures to be able to grow and sustain wealth. I long for the day when girls who come to Pace are treated as well and educated as carefully as the girls who attend Meadowbrook. Equity is very important to me. Preparing girls, Black and brown students, and all young people for a good life is important to me. I'm ready to pitch in and do what I can. Are you? Thanks for listening.
All right, y'all, you know we have saved the best for last. And I want to just make a statement before we introduce our final speaker today. We asked a lot of people to be a part of this event, and we had a lot of people say no and say that they didn't want to be here because they didn't feel safe, not because of COVID, but because of backlash and things that can happen to them. And I noticed that every speaker we've had so far has been white, and I'm sure you have noticed that too. And we are ending it with the absolute best advocate that we have in our town, Miss Shanae Jackson. She's a parent, she's a teacher, she's an activist, she's an advocate. She's here for everyone and all of us. I also really want to thank T and Jarrell, who are behind the scenes with the video camera and helping us out. We've had so many people helping us, Cheryl and Joy at home, everybody tuning in. Just really thank you for everything. We're in this together. So with no further ado, Miss Shanae Jackson.
Okay, I'm going to try this with me and a microphone. I am naturally loud anyway. So as she stated, I am Shanae Jackson. Typically, I always go off script, so I'm going to try to stay on script today. I actually wrote a speech. I'm a person, as she stated, I wear many hats. I've been given many titles. The title that I'm most proud of is mom. I would like to point out that I am a parent. I have a child that is at Meadowbrook. So we're one of those few Black families that attend that school. And I have another child that is in private school, and my 2 sons graduated from Buchholz. I want to take the time to thank each and every one of you. We are out here in the rain. And if this does not show how much we care about our students and our teachers and administrator and support staff and community, this is definitely it. Especially a Black woman standing in the rain getting her hair wet. So let's be clear. So I would like to say a big thank you for this, for other education advocacy initiatives that you all have contributed to. All of the contributions, big and small, is what got us here today. From previous speakers, you have heard about a myriad of topics, from the pandemic to health and safety to empowering teacher leadership. The COVID-19 pandemic has given us all an acute awareness of the deep inequities that have already existed in our education system. Now more than ever, we must ensure that our students and our families remain connected, supported, and heard. Before I start talking about equity, I want to clearly state that words matter. This point is often conveyed, however, the depth of this point is not typically addressed. It is imperative to understand that when we lack appropriate terminology for something, it is difficult to engage with it. Labels empower us to understand and interact with whatever it is that we're labeling. We must understand that knowing terms is not enough. We must create and foster shared meanings to achieve mutual understandings of the words we're using. I would like to take a moment and define a few words or labels. Diversity is the first. Diversity is simply defined as variety. Please note that diversity can only exist in relation to others. Specifically, an individual person cannot be diverse, but a group of people can. The second one is inclusion. Inclusion can be viewed as individuals with different identities who are invited to a group and, in theory, are welcomed and engaged in an authentic and empowered participation. Simply put, diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance. The third term is equality. It is viewed as everyone gets the same resources to be successful. Equality aims to promote justice and fairness. However, equality only works if one starts from the same starting point and needs the same resources, and we know that often does not happen. The fourth term, which is the term I want to address, is equity. Equity recognizes that when people are in social systems or institutions of power, access, opportunity, and outcomes are unequally distributed and realized. Equity is a process, and it should be a verb, which is an action word. Something we do to create parity or the same outcomes across demographic groups. I started by defining the words because in our country, and in Alachua County specifically, these words are being touted as ways that we can combat racism and racial disparities in the outcomes. Far too often, race-focused conversations derail because people are using the same terms in different ways. To overcome that hold that racism and systemic inequities have on our systems, we need to name them, we need to frame them, and we need to explain them. Proactively establishing a shared language to describe conditions, data, and other outcomes makes it easier to communicate and commit to equity work, and creates a platform for effective collaboration toward equitable outcomes. As a reminder, we have the largest racial disparities in the state in all quality of life indicators. Wage disparity, criminal justice interactions, and access to quality health care are just a few. All of these begin with our educational system. Did you know 70% of our black children district-wide and 41% of our rural white children cannot read proficiently? That means they can't read. Additionally, over the last 5 years, the opportunity, or some call it the achievement gap, between black and white students has been between 42 and 49%. These are the widest gaps in the state in every subject area except social studies. We can change this. So let's go back to equity and ask specific questions. What resources do black and brown children need in order to learn successfully? What resources do all teachers need to be able to teach language minority or students of color? What resources do high poverty schools need so that they are welcoming, safe, engaging, and healthy? How can we measure if we're allocating our funds to best help those who need it the most? What district supports do teachers, administrators, and support staff who choose to teach in our struggling schools with large numbers of black children because they love and are dedicated to those children need? Can we quantify those supports? Yes, we absolutely can. These are the kinds of questions that equity is supposed to ask. And the district needs to create a good plan with these kinds of questions and continually inform us on this progress. That's what we asked for in an equity plan in office. We have yet to receive what we deserve. Equity is also deeply intertwined with family engagement. There's an extensive body of research that states that when families are authentically engaged and listened as active partners, that students reach their full potential and graduate career and college ready. Yet, in our school district, it is evident that families are expected to adapt to the culture of the schools and then pushed to the side. Due to the extensive work by the Alachua County Education Task Force, we have data on inequities, but very little progress is being made towards moving beyond discussing equity. One of the major issues, and there are many, as you've heard from previous speakers, is that no equitable strategies for family engagement have been implemented. How we practice equity in this district reveals a lack of connection to families, especially black families, especially poor families, especially families with special needs. That's not the mission of public education. Public education states that the public, which is all of us, in this case also the district, steps in alongside individual families to help care for the collective whole. That's what our tax dollars actually fund. Families are experts on their own situation, and we should treat them as such. If we treat them that way and ask them for their knowledge, wisdom, and partnership, we can get more done. It is genuinely upsetting to hear so many people say we don't know how to engage families. For me, it's simple. It boils down to nothing about us without us. The key is family engagement, with parents having a seat at the decision-making table. Without giving families a seat at the decision-making table, the solutions become about finding problems and fixing families rather than building on strengths. I'm speaking as a parent and as a community member, and I want you to know that we can teach our community how to collaborate with us. If you honor our knowledge and build equitable relationships with us, communicate with us in the way that you want to be communicated with, reflect on how you want your opinions and experiences included, that's what we're asking for. As a community, we must work collaboratively to develop and implement policies and programs instead of attempting to bring us on board after the fact. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. often referenced the interrelated and interdependent world. His references to the beloved community and World House convey his views on our connection and inclusion within the human community. Let's use Dr. King's metaphors of a house in our beloved community. What foundation and cornerstones do you want to build on? I chose personal character because we must understand that it is about each of us as individual people, our moral qualities and how we behave. I also chose social justice because it is imperative that we address the fairness of the organizational structures and social constructs we create in our community. And at this time is why I'd like to take the moment to challenge you all, or to ask you all to come on board and ask what I want is for our superintendent to resign. I don't want her to be fired. I want her to use social justice. I want her to use personal character and responsibility and step to the side. And the reason for that is our vision is to seek equitable outcomes for our school system and community that will bring about true transformative justice and systemic change. To do this, we will need to learn together and create social movements and actions that support each other in our new school board majority. Life chose you. Life chose me. Here I am, and here you are. Together we can support our community by fostering an equitable, world-class school system.
Check us out, y'all. We started late and we finished on time. And now we're going to tune into the school board meeting because that's what's coming up next at 6 o'clock. Thank you all for being here. Stay tuned in. Alachua County Education Activists, Alachua County Education Task Force, Teachers for Change. Shout them out. Help me. PTA. DAC. All the things. Get involved. There is no shortage of ways to get involved. Stay tuned to our page. Stay tuned to our event. Stay tuned to the school board. We got a lot of work to do, and we're all in this together. Thank y'all so much for coming out. Yes.
I just want to add one thing. All of us have done this of our own time, volunteering, as you all do in your own communities and your own interests. But I do want to recognize T for giving her time to us and for sharing her talents with her community. And my understanding is that it is a very common event. So thank you, T, for being here. I appreciate you. I'm sorry if I put you a little on notice. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for coming out.
Thanks for watching our presentations. To learn more about education activists of Alachua County, join us on facebook.com/groups/EDACT community / that's facebook.com/groups/EdAct community / and watch for future actions there to join us in changing our district schools for the better. We need every voice to help us in working for the cause because every child deserves the best education possible. Please join us. For other actions you can take now, check out this helpful list.